So it's quite easy to get adequate amount of magnesium from your diet, but I would still recommend you supplement it in because you're burning through your magnesium quite rapidly if you're training for endurance or overall strength. Moving over to fish oil, which is a very potent anti-inflammatory compound and helps with, well, a multitude of different things, including insulin sensitivity, lipid management, again, potent anti-inflammatory. There's so many benefits for fish oil. It will be a whole video in itself. So long story short, make sure you stick with pharmaceutical fish oil or a high potency fish oil, which contains between 500 to 800 milligrams EPA and DHA, giving you a total of, let's say, 2,000 to 3,500 milligrams EPA and DHA combined. Feel free to add in a little bit of krill oil, which contains astaxanthin, which is also beneficial and a phospholipid that helps with overall lipid levels in the body and overall anti-inflammatory benefits. All of this will contribute to overall heart health quite substantially, but where fish oil and krill oil really shine is in its ability to reduce blood viscosity and help to relax the blood vessels, especially in combination with magnesium, which also has this effect. Magnesium and fish oil helps to dilate and relax the blood vessels, improving the viscosity of the blood that passes through them. So if you're maximizing cardiac function with taurine and ubiquinol and PQQ and everything else, then fish oil will allow the blood to flow through all of the arteries at a much greater capacity. So now the oxygen carrying capacity increases, the nutrient delivery increases, the carbon dioxide removal or the lactic acid removal improves as well. And this is particularly important when you increase red blood cell production and your hematocrit goes up. You don't want your blood to turn into sludge. So when you're using EPO or anadrol or boldenone or primobolan or anything else that's highly erythropoietic, like the hyperbaric chambers, for example, you need omega-3 to improve your viscosity of the blood. You don't want sludge. You just want regular water full with oxygen and full with micronutrients. And that way, your endurance is sustained and you don't get a blood clot and a heart attack while you're performing a race, right? Omega-3, just put it in there. It's cheap and very, very effective. And it brings us to magnesium. And I mentioned it several times earlier in this video already. Magnesium contributes to hundreds of different biological processes in the body, one of which is the production and utilization of adenosine triphosphate, ATP. Yet again, so if you want optimized energy production, magnesium has to be in the picture. Magnesium plays a role in muscular contractions and relaxation, and it does so in its effects by alternating with calcium, like I mentioned before. Magnesium is involved in maintaining a regular heartbeat, and it helps to regulate blood pressure by dilating the blood vessels. So magnesium has to be in there. Dosages can go up to 2,000 milligrams per day from magnesium, bisglycinate, glycinate, or citrate. At least supplement with, let's say, 420 milligrams per day. That's only 2 tablets of a 200 milligram formula. But I go with 200 milligrams with each meal. So I get about 1,000 milligrams of magnesium from dietary sources, and then another 1,000 milligrams of magnesium from supplemental sources. Now, magnesium-rich foods are pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, spinach, black beans, quinoa, cashew nuts, and beet greens. But if you go through, one of these applications to figure out what your micronutrient intake on the diet that you're currently following, you'll see that you get anywhere between 400 to 1,000 milligrams magnesium if you eat the generally recommended healthy foods for optimized endurance and overall strength. So it's quite easy to get adequate amount of magnesium from your diet, but I would still recommend you supplement it in because you're burning through your magnesium quite rapidly if you're training for endurance or overall strength. And then while we're on the subject of cardiovascular health and overall blood pressure support, look into Carditone, 1 capsule per day upon waking. I don't see a reason why you would want to take 2 capsules of Carditone. 1 capsule gets the job done to regulate your blood pressure, and indirectly, this might contribute to an improved endurance. Again, if you're doing everything right, it's probably not necessary. But if you're taking some pharmaceutical aids and for whatever reason, you don't want to go the medicinal route, you're taking PEDs, but you don't want to take ancillaries, then look into Carditone. Carditone is a dietary supplement which typically contains a blend of various herbal extracts and minerals, including Rauwolfia, serpentina, rose powder extract, Bohavia, diffusa, and magnesium. And some of the more expensive formulas might contain additional herbal extracts which might help with overall cardiovascular health. Again, research the product packaging because a lot of them are proprietary blends and they don't list how many milligrams of each of these extracts it actually contains. So if you see a breakdown, each herbal extract has a milligram dose behind it. That's the one you want to go with. I'll link my favorite brand down below. It's not really required to improve overall endurance. But again, if you suffer from a little bit of blood pressure issues for whatever reason, or you train in a super hot climate and your electrolyte intake has to be substantial, increasing your blood volume, you have to take a lot of sodium because you sweat buckets and otherwise you're cramping on the side of the pavement, not being able to finish the race. And in that case, Carditone is beneficial to improve the elasticity of your blood vessels further and help to keep your blood pressure in range when you're eating a ton of sodium and drinking a lot of water, just to be able to cope with the heat. And then there's 2 other extracts which I want to highlight, albeit that they're not as effective as Carditone or some of the other extracts, which I mentioned earlier in this video regarding optimizing of cardiac function. One of them is hawthorn berry extract. Dosages range between 300 milligrams to 1200 milligrams daily, which ideally you split up over a multitude of servings. Hawthorn berry extract supports cardiovascular health by improving blood flow and reduces blood pressure. And it contains several flavonoids, including oligomeric proanthocyanins and other compounds which are said to have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. So this might be a nice addition on top of your Carditone, albeit that I believe that some of the Carditone formulas actually already contain hawthorn berry extract. And there's garlic extract between 600 to 1200 milligrams per day. Again, split up the dose. Some of the versions are not able to raise your body odor. So, do your due diligence researching. Some of them might make you smell a little bit garlicky, and that might be beneficial for you to improve your endurance, but not for everybody else in the race, unless you, that's the strategy. And especially if you're in the front of the race and you're on copious amounts of garlic extract, everybody behind you is miserable. Again, strategy plays a key. Whatever it takes to win, garlic extract might be the one to get the job done because everybody else behind you is vomiting or at least holding your nose and now their oxygen uptake is inhibited. Garlic extract is believed to support cardiovascular health by promoting healthy blood pressure, reducing LDL, cholesterol levels, and improving blood circulation. Again, garlic extract contains a sulfur compound known as allicin, which has potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. And for the guys that are considering about carnitine, which is mentioned a little bit later, allicin can also inhibit TMA formation in the intestinal tract. Now, TMA is formed from carnitine and choline by certain bacteria, and then ultimately converts into TMAO within the liver. And TMAO is what can induce cardiovascular disease and systemic inflammation with chronic exposure. So if you're going with oral carnitine, because you don't want to inject anything or you're limited by the contents of this video, and you're worried about TMAO formation, causing all kinds of deleterious health effects, then garlic extract supplementation or allicin supplementation might be something you can look into. Garlic extract might also help to improve blood flow by enhancing the production of nitric oxide. So if you're thinking about supplementing, well, let's be honest, it's called megadosing. Megadosing L-citrulline malate into the multitude of grams. Maybe a combination of garlic extract and a very high dose of L-citrulline might be beneficial to improve overall nitric oxide production and help with blood pressure management and the excretion of lactic acid and other metabolic waste products. Let's move over to optimizing skeletal muscle function. We got boosting testosterone. We got all of the micronutrients in place to increase hematocrit and red blood cell production. We got our heart function covered. Now let's improve the overall skeletal muscle function because that's ultimately how we're going to win this endurance contest.